At breakfast, Mom said, "Your sister's twins will be using your room. They need a bigger space to grow." As I opened my mouth, Dad slammed his glass and said, "Agree or get out of this house." I just nodded. A week later, I bought the house next door, watched them fall apart, and said, "Good morning every day. My name is Christopher. I'm 31. I'm the quiet son, the one who blends into door frames, the one who remembers everyone's birthdays and brings a cake, because that's the thing I'm good at. I run a small pastry shop on the corner of Lenin and 3rd. People come for the almond croissants and stay because I remember that Mrs. Patel likes her latte extra hot, and that Mr. Corgan pretends he doesn't like eclairs then by 6. In my family, I'm the background. My older sister Sabrina is the sun. She's the golden child with the big laugh and the right friends, and now twins. Everyone calls them our miracle babies. Like we all chipped in biologically. I see. H chipped in financially. That was my job. Chris is stable. Mom says he has his own business. Dad says like the bakery prints money in the back. Growing up was a steady stream of small cuts. Be a good brother. Your sister needs it more. Don't make a fuss. I learned how to patch drywall, swap out a faucet, and split a check 4 ways when I was the only one with a card that wouldn't bounce. I learned how to say it's fine and make it sound like I believed it. That morning started normal. I got to their house at 7:40 a.m. with a box of cinnamon rolls because my mother hates store-bought, which is hilarious since she hasn't set foot in a grocery store since the Obama administration. Sabrina's twins were in matching onesies that said copy and paste. I kissed their foreheads and tried not to think about my credit card statement. We sat down. Dad read the local paper like it was still 1998. Sabrina scrolled silently, her phone screen a mirror. Mom poured coffee with her jaw already set. "Your sister's twins will take your room," she said just like that, like she was announcing the weather. "They need more space to grow." I blinked. My room. I still slept there sometimes after late shifts when I was too tired to drive across town. Also, it was my room. The walls still smelled like birthday candles and lemon polish. Mom didn't pause. "You have your shop. You practically live there. It's selfish to keep a whole room empty." I opened my mouth. Dad slammed his glass down. Milk sloshed. "Agree or get out of this house." The twins hiccuped at the noise. Sabrina didn't look up. I felt the words land and sit heavy in my chest. "Agree or get out." I nodded. "Okay." I chewed my cinnamon roll without tasting it. My tongue felt like cardboard. In my head, I kept hearing Dad's glass hit the table over and over. Like a metronome, I couldn't stop. I own a bakery, but it didn't appear out of flour and prayer. I saved for 9 years. I worked 2 jobs for 5 of them. I slept in the walk-in cooler once because the AC died in my studio apartment, and I had a wedding order at 3 a.m. I know what things cost. I know what I can afford. I know the difference between a favor and a bill with my name on it. My family treats money like it's a group project, and I'm the only one who studied. It started small. Sabrina borrowed $120 in college for textbooks, then $350 for a traffic ticket. "You're better with fees," she said. When she was 27, she called me crying from a mall parking lot because her card got declined at Nordstrom and she needed a blazer for an interview. I drove over and handed the cashier my card because the line was long and I don't like scenes. $49,827. I still remember the exact number because later that week I skipped lunch 3 days in a row so I wouldn't overdraft. My parents never asked where my money came from. They just assumed I had it. "You're careful," Mom would say. Translation, "You don't say no." Dad kept a running scoreboard of things we did for you. Like existing was a tab I hadn't settled. "Roof over your head," he'd mutter when I didn't jump fast enough. "Food on your plate." Even if that food was mostly me cooking. When Sabrina got married, I made a 5-tier cake for free and paid the florist's rush fee because they missed. When she got pregnant with the twins, I was on the hook for the crib, then the second crib, then the humidifier, then the better humidifier because the first one was too loud. The registry looked like it was for a minor royal. Everyone clapped at the shower when I brought out the croquet bush. Aunt Nora hugged me and said, "You're the glue of this family." Glue is sticky. Glue holds other people's messes together until it dries and cracks. I told myself I didn't mind. I like being useful. I like being the guy people could count on. But then the asks changed shape. They got bigger, heavier. They came with deadlines. 2 months before the twins were born, Dad called. "No. Hello. Sabrina's lease is up. We're converting the den into a nursery. You'll handle the contractors. I was piping raspberry buttercream onto 60 cupcakes. Dad, I'm in the middle of he talked over me. We need it done before June. Your shop is slow in spring, right? You can manage the budget. Whose budget? I asked, already knowing. Ours, he said, then coughed. Yours? We'll pay you back when things even out. When do things ever even out? I kept the spreadsheet. I do that when I feel control slipping. By the week of the breakfast, the total I'd fronted in the past year was $18,542.19. I'm not rich. I'm a guy who sells pastries for $4.75. That number glowed on my laptop screen like a warning label. Around the same time, Sabrina started leaving boxes in my old room. Just for now, she'd say. Then a stroller appeared. Then two. Then the changing table. I stepped around it at night like a guest in a museum of my own childhood. The posters were still on the walls, curling at the corners. My old soccer trophy leaned crooked on the shelf beside a bottle warmer I'd apparently paid for. The night before breakfast, I stayed late at the bakery finishing a custom order. A husband wanted a cake shaped like the first book he and his wife ever read together. It took me 4 hours to get the fondant right. While I worked, my phone lit up with family texts. Mom, don't forget breakfast, 8:00 a.m. Sabrina. Bring cinnamon rolls. Dad, be on time to, please. No thanks. Just orders. I brushed it off. Brushing things off is a skill now. I boxed the cake, set my alarm, and drove to the house I grew up in, where I slept on a mattress half covered in diapers I'd paid for. Then came morning. Then came the sentence. Your sister's twins will take your room. The glass slam. Agree or get out. Mom started listing logistics like we were in a staff meeting. We'll move your boxes to the garage, she said. They'll mold in the garage, I said. Then take them to your shop, Dad snapped. You're always there. Sabrina finally looked up. It's not personal, Chris. The babies need space. Where am I supposed to sleep? I asked, when I close at midnight and can't drive home. She tilted her head like I'd asked for a pony. You can crash on the couch. The couch, Dad's throne. The couch where complaints live. I pictured myself curled up there, listening to him breathe and judge. I pictured the spreadsheet. The blazer receipt. Okay, I said finally, my voice small. Okay. Driving to the bakery afterward, the word okay felt like a stone in my mouth. I parked, went inside, and stood behind the counter, watching sunlight crawl across the tile. My phone buzzed. Sabrina, can you send $300 for the car seats? Sale ends today. I didn't answer. I set the phone face down by the register. A customer came in. I smiled on autopilot and boxed pastries. When they left, I picked up my phone again. Missed call mom x1. Missed call dad x2. Text from mom. It's settled then. Start moving your things. We'll rent a storage unit if you insist, but you'll cover it. I stared at those words. Settled. Like someone had slammed a gavel. Like I wasn't even in the room, just a line item. Something inside me shifted. Quietly. Not a break. Just a turn. The breaking point came a week later, at Sunday lunch. Roast chicken. Sleeping twins. The house smelled like rosemary and baby shampoo. I brought a tart because that's what I do when I don't know what else to do. Dad started without preamble. We found a contractor. You'll write the check. We'll pay you back when the market stabilizes. How much? I asked. 40, he said. 42 with permits. 4,200? I asked, though I already knew that he gave me a look. 42,000. Mom added. And while we're at it, Sabrina and the babies will move into your room this week. You need to clear out the rest tonight. Your childhood stuff can be tossed. It's clutter. Tossed, I repeated. My stuff is clutter. Sabrina sipped her water. Chris, can you not make this dramatic? You don't even use the room. Also, daycare waitlist fees came through. Can you spot me $600? I'll send it back when I can. I looked around the table. The chicken steamed. The twins snuffled. Dad's knife hit his plate. Clink, clink, clink. I can't. I said. 3 faces lifted. Dad frowned. Can't what? I can't write a check for $42,000. I can't pay daycare fees. I can't move my things out tonight so you can toss them in the garage. I can't do this anymore. Silence. The kind that listens. Mom recovered first. Don't be childish. We all sacrifice for family. I've sacrificed, I said, steady now. $18, $542 since last May. 212 hours on your renovations. Free cakes, free deliveries, midnight calls, early drop-offs. I've given and given. And when I asked for one thing, keep my room, you said agree or get out. Dad leaned back. You keeping score now? I started keeping score because you were already keeping it for me, I said. Every favor I do becomes proof I owe more. Sabrina rolled her eyes. This is about the room? Seriously? The babies need space. This isn't about revenge, I said quietly. It's about closure. About boundaries. I surprised myself with how calm it sounded. I'm not funding your remodel. I'm not paying the daycare fee. I'm not giving up the last square foot of this house that still feels like mine. Dad's jaw tightened. Then get out. Okay, I said, pushing back my chair. I will. Mom's mouth opened, closed. Christopher, sit down. I'll be back tonight for my things, I said. The rest is yours. The trophies, the posters. Keep them. Toss them. Your choice. Sabrina gave a brittle laugh. You're overreacting. You texted me 47 times last month asking for money, I said. You Venmo requested me for $8.99 because you forgot your coffee. I sent it. I always do. Not anymore. I walked to the door. Dad said, if you leave like this, don't come back. I paused with my hand on the knob. I'm tired of nodding. I looked at Mom. At Sabrina. Good luck with the space. I left the tart on the counter. Didn't slam the door. Drove to the bakery. Cleaned the espresso machine like it had offended me. Then sat at the tiny office desk and opened Zillow because I needed to look at something that wasn't a text thread. The listing had been up 19 minutes. Charming 3-bedroom next to quiet cul-de-sac. The photos showed a sunlit kitchen, a backyard with a lopsided fence, and the same view of my parents' living room window I'd grown up staring through. The price made my stomach flip. High but not impossible. Not if I pulled from the expansion fund and braced for a tight year. My phone buzzed nonstop. Mom, 3 be reasonable. Dad, 1 don't be stupid. Sabrina, 5 we need the money today. The sale ended at midnight. I didn't answer Sabrina's text. I called the agent instead. Hi, I own the bakery online on. I'd like to make a cash offer on the house next door. He whistled. You move fast. Not really, I said. Just tired. The next 2 days blurred. Signatures, wire transfers, naps on the bakery couch between bakes and title emails. I told 2 people, Jade, my assistant, who hugged me and said about time, and my landlord, since I was month to month anyway, by Wednesday, the deed recorded. I drove to my new house with a folding chair, a pillow, and groceries. It smelled like pine and old dust. I opened windows, ate a cold sandwich, texted a locksmith. Thursday at 7:02 a.m., coffee in hand. I stood on my porch and watched my parents' blinds twitch. Mom stepped out in her robe. Christopher. Morning, I said. Dad appeared. What are you doing? Living. I said. By noon, everyone knew. Aunt Nora called. Your mother's hysterical. Uncle Ted texted. Bold move, kid. I laughed, turned my phone off, and built a bed frame. That afternoon, Dad showed up. You think this is funny? No, I said. I think it's close. Close to what? Closure. He scoffed. You bought a house to spite your sister. I bought a house because you told me to get out. And because I can. He stared past me. So you'll just sit here and watch us? No, I said. I'll just say good morning, like neighbors do. An hour later, Mom texted a speech about betrayal. Then another. Can you bring cinnamon rolls Sunday? The twins love them. I didn't reply. Friday, Sabrina arrived with the stroller. You're insane. You embarrassed Mom. People always talk, I said. Half the time they're wrong. Dad says you're cutting us off. I'm paying what I owe. Mortgage, utilities, payroll. That's it. So no daycare help? No, she scoffed. Enjoy your empty house. I will, I said. You can visit. With a text first, no requests attached. Calls piled up. Mom cried. Dad said he was disappointed. Sabrina sent her bank screenshot. I took a walk, met a neighbor new on the block. Sort of, I said. Old but new. By Sunday, I stood on my porch with coffee. My parents and sister came out. I raised my mug. Good morning. No one answered. It went on like that. Monday, Tuesday. By Thursday, Dad grunted. By next week, texts turned from anger to guilt to silence. Silence has a shape. It fits differently when you choose it. The bakery kept me grounded. I said no out loud to the rhythm of the mixer. Awkward at first, than natural. Bills came. The mortgage was real, but the math was mine. Then Mom texted a photo of my old room. Now gray walls, 2 cribs, no posters, see? They needed the space, that I'm glad they have what they need. I replied to "So you'll help me?" I already did. Weeks later, the morning bit continued. Coffee. Porch. Good morning. Sometimes a wave. Sometimes silence. One morning, Sabrina called out as she loaded the stroller. You really not mad? I was. I said, now I'm done. She kicked at a crack in the sidewalk. It was never personal. It was always personal, I said. You just didn't have to feel it. She nodded. I'm figuring stuff out. Me too.